Floyd Broncos played in Coppell last Friday and put up a really good fight and ended up losing 31-6. I'm joined now by head coach Don Drake. And Coach, that's one of those cases where the score really doesn't tell the story. This was neck and neck through the first three quarters.
It really was. It was a tough physical football game. They held a 7-0 halftime lead. We came out and made it 7-6 in the third quarter, and the kids really battled. Game got away from us in the fourth. We had some turnovers that they were able to convert into some points, with a short field. So it ended up looking a whole lot worse than what the actual game itself was like.
Coppell's a team that can obviously put up a ton of points, and your defense did a great job to just put them in check, and they really read what they were going to do well.
Yeah, I was very proud of our defense. I thought they played really well. I thought, early in the football game, Coppell's first possession, they ended up going for it on fourth down on their own end of the field, and we held them and gave our offense a great opportunity to put some points on the board early. Unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalize on that, but I thought defensively we played extremely well for the majority of the night.
We'll take a look at some of the highlights from the game against Coppell. And your team early on, obviously the strategy is to run the ball with Brian Driscoll, your running back, and he had several good runs early on that he was able to break out.
We did, and we knew that we were going to need to be able to throw the football as well, so we took some opportunities to try to throw the football down the field too. We're successful in some, not successful in others, and unfortunately weren't able to put some points on the board early and put some pressure on Coppell's offense to come answer. So, we've got to show up our execution offensively.
Early on, it was a struggle. There was no score in the first quarter at all. What's it like in a game where really you're just holding serve and just trying to fight for field position?
Well, you just got to keep playing. You got to keep working and keep playing hard. And I thought our kids, again, they battled for the majority of the football game and just got away from us late. You're seeing some great plays here defensively by us. And Coppell's a power-running football team. And our kids managed well in the box in terms of stopping that running game.
Talk about your defense's ability to cope with the mobile quarterback. They were able to get in the backfield and bring him down behind the line several times. We
were able to make some stops in the backfield, got a sack, I know, by Matt Dodson, and put some pressure on him, and that was a good thing. There you're seeing a great run by Brian in the first quarter. And again, football's such a game of momentum, and it's a game of field position, and we were able to put ourselves in good field position several times in the first half. We just weren't able to finish it off with touchdowns.
And you missed a chance early on, a missed field goal, and then your defense holds Coppell. You force a fumble in your own territory with your backs sort of against the wall and able to get the ball back, and they were able to score on the drive after that and took a 7-0 lead into halftime. What were you saying to your team at halftime, only down 7-0?
Well, that we just got to keep playing. There's a great ball down to Patrick Ladd from Curtis's his younger brother. That's our starting quarterback. Again, we were in great field position here, as you can see on the highlights. Another good ball out there to Patrick. That ended up being short of the goal line, unfortunately, and we missed the field goal there and didn't come away with any points. But at halftime, it's guys, we gotta execute better offensively. Help our defense out, keep them off the field because they're really playing well. But we got to maintain some time of possession with the ball and give those guys a breather so they can go back out there fresh again.
It's so important for your quarterback to have a connection with the receivers, to be able to really time things well. And you mentioned you have a younger brother quarterback and an older brother receiver, and they really connected well in this game. They had, as you said, the 43-yard long completion, and Patrick was your leading receiver in the game.
Yes, he was, and Patrick's done a great job for us. He's one of our senior captains, and really has been playing well, and I've been real proud of the production that he's provided for us.
So third quarter, your defense is still holding strong, and you have a Driscoll run for 50 yards for a touchdown. And even against Coppell's defense, which is going to hold pretty much everybody to not a whole lot of yards, you just know that Brian's always going to get that one big play that they're just not going to stop.
Yeah, and there's the footage of it there on the highlight. We executed that play very well, and it ended up in points. And that's kind of the message to the kids when we execute the play the way it's designed. and put those pieces together and get all 11 folks doing the right thing, then great things have an opportunity to happen.
Yeah, it's almost always the running back, gets the stats, gets the credit for everything, but the offensive line really had opened up a lot of holes in this game to where it was the easy running for Driscoll.
Yeah, those guys up front I thought did a very good job. Coppell's defensive front was very solid, and I thought our 5 offensive linemen in there did a pretty good job of giving us some opportunities the other night.
So you're down 7-6 after a blocked point after attempt, and Coppell answers with a 13-play, 87-yard touchdown drive. That really sort of killed the momentum a little bit because you guys had just scored, and once you get the ball back, if you stop them, you're going to have a chance to take the lead next time down.
Yeah, and football is such a game of momentum, and when we scored, of course, you think, well, let's go make the extra point. We tie the game up. They blocked the extra point, so all the momentum that you just had from scoring the touchdown with the potential tie, doesn't shift. And that's what makes it unfortunate, is because you have a chance to grab the momentum, and then it almost deflates immediately, when they block the PAT. So we obviously have to get that fixed, because those should be sure points. That's the way we look at it, and we ought to be able to knock that through and get the sure points in that. But obviously you can't give up pressure on the inside and the opportunity for them to block it.
Your defense still plays well. Coppell gets a field goal before the end of the third quarter, but you're only down 11 going to the fourth, and they just seem to wear you down at the very end of the game.
Well, we turned the football over on our own end of the field, which is never good. And so we gave them a short field to work with. Our defense had been out there already, for the 13-play drive, and then we had fumbled the kickoff that we got, so they got back. They had to go right back out there again, and then about 4 plays later, we end up throwing an interception. They have to go back out again. So, at some point, those guys are going to wear down if we can't get better production out of our offensive personnel. So we've got to do a better job of executing in the offensive end to take some pressure off of our defense.
Your players must know that they lost this game, but a lot of it was a couple of self-inflicted mistakes. If you clean up those mistakes, you're right there with a chance to win the ball game.
Yeah, and that's how we view it. We've got to continue to get better. We've got to continue to improve. Our kids are giving great effort. They're playing very physical, which we need to be able to do and continue to do. So, we're not going to hang our heads. We've got our eyes set on Garland this Friday night, going out and getting a victory.
Garland's a team very similar start to you guys. They have a lot of good players. They always are a playoff contender, a lot of preseason hype. And they also started 0-2 due to playing some tough games. What do you see about Garland in your matchup to where you can get that first victory instead of them?
Well, Garland's Garland. We've played them for the last 2 years. They're always a fast football team, a very physical football team. I feel good about the way that our kids are playing defensively right now, and us being able to contain Garland's running game. Offensively, we've got to be better in our execution and take advantage of those opportunities that we get, like we had the other night, and put some points on the board and try to apply some pressure on the other end. It seems like for the last couple of weeks, all that pressure has been on us, to be able to go match a score. We've got to start faster offensively, put some points on the board, and hopefully put the pressure on them to have to come make some plays.
It's a little bit unusual at this point of the season, only the third game, to where you have two teams with all the teams you can schedule in high school football. You guys and Garland both played Mesquite Horn already. Garland lost big to Mesquite Horn, and you guys were a lot closer than that. Does that give your team a lot of confidence going in, or do you not read too much into the scores of the separate games?
Well, I think each game is different. I think definitely, it encourages our kids to know that we played Horn. Garland played Horn. Obviously, our outcome was a little different than theirs in terms of the score itself. I think the biggest thing it does is it allows us to be able to at least compare, to somebody that we've already played. And so I think it does provide confidence for our kids, but you still got to go out and you've got to execute the plan in order to be successful.
When you guys watch film on Garland and see how they did against whatever Mesquite Horn is running, probably going to be the same thing that they ran against you. You can kind of see where you can maybe make an adjustment or two to have an advantage against Garland.
Yeah, we hope so. And as a coaching staff this weekend, when we sit down and evaluate that film and we work through our planning sessions, again, being able to watch Garland play against somebody that we've already played against kind of gives us that comparison. We know a little bit about both opponents now, so I think that's an advantage in terms of your preparation.
What's the one thing that your quarterback, Curtis Ladd, needs to do in this next game to improve and keep managing the game well and really find some offense in the passing game?
Well, and I think Curtis has done well. I mean, in his first 2 starts, I mean, we've got to be better through the air with the ball. There's no doubt. Of course, that's not just him. I mean, that's the other skilled kids too that we're throwing the football to. We've got to catch the football. I mean, there were opportunities the other night where we put the ball out there with opportunities to catch it, and we didn't. So, you know, we've got to polish that piece up. There's no doubt we've got to be able to move the football through the air as well as on the ground, and that's a component that I feel like we're very capable of doing. We just got to improve.
And finally, is there any injury concerns going into the next game?
No, we're good to go, and we're ready to go face Garland on Friday.
Always good to be healthy, especially this early in the season. Having the full force of troops getting ready to play Garland, that'll be on Friday. Going on the road to play Garland, Boyd, the Broncos looking to get their first win of the year. We conclude this episode of Sports Talk looking ahead to the excitement of the 3rd week of McKinney ISD football games. McKinney travels to Irving Nimitz to try for a perfect 3-0 start to the season. North and Boyd once again have challenging opponents. North hosts Frisco Centennial, while Boyd travels to Garland. Both teams are hungry for their first win of the season, and they'll leave everything on the field to do so. We want to thank the coaches again for their time today on the show. Until next week, I'm Tyler Sloan, reminding you that for all of your McKinney ISD athletic news, it's right here on Sports Talk.